Hello, my friend. Today, we will once again explore and talk about the topic, are women beginning to think about this option? Let's dive into it together with psychological depth. There's a story I keep hearing. Different cities, different ages, different details, but the same basic arc. A woman leaves her husband not because he cheated, not because he was abusive, not because of any dramatic betrayal. She leaves because he was fine, just fine, reliable, stable, present, but not exciting, not passionate enough, not the fantasy she thought she deserved. So she files, she moves out, she starts her new life, and for a while it feels like freedom. 6 months later, maybe a year, maybe 2, she sees him, and he's different. He's lighter, he's smiling, he's with someone new. Someone who looks at him the way she used to look at him before familiarity turned admiration into irritation. And something inside her cracks. Because she thought he'd be devastated. She thought he'd be broken. She thought leaving him would prove how much better she could do. Instead, he's fine, better than fine. And she's the one lying awake at 3 a.m. wondering if she made a catastrophic mistake. Today, we're going to talk about a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. Women who leave good men, not perfect men, but genuinely good, loyal, committed men, and discover too late that what they walked away from was better than anything waiting on the other side. This isn't about attacking women. This isn't about saying women shouldn't leave relationships. This is about understanding a specific psychological trap that's destroying families and creating regret that lasts decades. Let me start with the foundation. How does someone go from marrying a man to leaving him for reasons that, in retrospect, seem trivial? It starts with something called the familiarity devaluation effect. In the beginning, everything he does is wonderful. He brings her coffee, thoughtful. He plans a date, romantic. He remembers her favorite restaurant, attentive. Early in the relationship, every gesture carries weight, every action gets noticed, every effort gets appreciated. Fast forward 5 years, 10 years, he's still doing all those things, maybe more, but now they're invisible. The coffee appears, but she doesn't notice who made it. The date happens, but it's not impressive anymore. It's expected. The remembering, that's baseline. He's supposed to remember. The novelty has worn off. The gestures that once proved his love now just prove he's still doing what he's always done. And what he's always done doesn't generate excitement. It generates nothing. This is the cruel paradox of consistency. The very reliability that makes a man a good long-term partner is the thing that makes him feel boring. He's predictable, he's safe, he's there. And there starts to feel like stuck. She begins to look at him and see someone who isn't growing, isn't changing, isn't surprising her anymore. Not because he's actually stagnant, but because consistency looks like stagnation when you're addicted to novelty. Let me describe what this looks like in real life, because I've heard this story from enough women to recognize the script. He comes home from work. He asks about her day, he listens, he offers to help with dinner, he plays with the kids, he handles the thing that broke. He does the grocery run she mentioned. In the evening, he suggests they watch something together. He reaches for her hand. He tells her he loves her. Then they go to bed. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And somewhere in the repetition, she starts to feel suffocated. Not because anything is wrong, but because nothing is dramatic. There's no intensity, no spontaneous romantic gestures like in the movies, no grand declarations, no fights followed by passionate reconciliations. Just calm, steady, reliable love, day after day, year after year. She starts thinking, is this all there is? Is this what the rest of my life looks like? The same conversations, the same routines, the same man who does all the right things but doesn't make her feel the way she felt at 23 when everything was new. She's not asking if he's a good husband, she's asking if he's the husband she fantasized about. And the answer, increasingly, is no. Now, at social media, this is where things accelerate. She opens Instagram, she sees curated highlight reels of other people's relationships, the surprise trips, the elaborate proposals. Wait, those are engagements, but still, Where's that energy in her marriage? The flowers, the poetry, the grand gestures? She's comparing her behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and her reliable, steady husband, who just took out the trash without being asked, he's not measuring up to the fantasy composite she's seeing online. She posts something vague, feeling unappreciated.
The comments flood in. You deserve better, queen. If he's not making you happy, leave. Life's too short to settle. You're so beautiful, you could have anyone. Random strangers who know nothing about her marriage, nothing about her husband, nothing about their history. They're encouraging her to blow it all up based on a single post, and she's listening because they're telling her what she wants to hear. She joins online groups, relationship forums, places where women commiserate about their disappointments. And the dominant narrative in these spaces is, if you're not deliriously happy, leave. If he doesn't read your mind, leave. If you feel bored, leave. Marriage is supposed to make you happy every single day, and if it doesn't, you're settling. The idea that marriage is work, the commitment means staying through the boring parts, the difficult parts, the parts where you're not in love with him but you love him anyway, that's antiquated, that's settling. That's the patriarchy convincing you to accept less than you deserve. So she starts building a case. She starts collecting evidence. He didn't react enthusiastically enough when she told him about her day. That's emotional neglect. He wanted quiet time after work instead of deep conversation. That's avoidance. He doesn't plan surprise dates anymore. He stopped trying. Every normal human moment of imperfection becomes evidence that he's not good enough, that she deserves more, that there's someone out there who would appreciate her in ways he doesn't. And here's what she doesn't realize. She's confusing stability with boredom. She's mistaking calm for apathy. She's interpreting his comfort around her as lack of passion. She's looking at a man who loves her enough to be himself, who doesn't need to perform because he's secure in the relationship. And she's deciding that the lack of performance means the lack of feeling. Let me talk about the expectation problem, because this is the engine underneath everything. Modern women have been raised on romantic comedies, romance novels, Instagram couples, and viral proposal videos. They've internalized a fantasy version of relationships where the man is constantly pursuing, constantly proving, constantly creating cinematic moments. The flowers just appear, the surprise trips just happen, the declarations of love are poetry, the emotional attunement is telepathic. He knows what she needs before she knows it herself. This is entertainment. This is fiction. But it's been absorbed as the standard, so when her real husband, who's working 50 hours a week to pay the mortgage, who's exhausted from managing logistics, who's dealing with his own stress and challenges, when he doesn't perform like a rom-com leading man, he's failing. Not failing at being a good husband, failing at being the fantasy. She tells him she's feeling disconnected. He says, "Okay, what do you need from me?" That's a normal, reasonable response, but it's not the response from the movie. In the movie, he would know. He would sense her pain and orchestrate an elaborate gesture to fix it. So his reasonable question feels like evidence that he doesn't get her, doesn't truly understand her, doesn't love her the way she needs to be loved. She mentions she's been stressed. He says, "Want to talk about it?" Again, normal. But in the fantasy, he would take charge, he would plan a weekend away, he would create space for her to decompress without her having to ask. His offer to listen feels inadequate compared to the fantasy of being swept away from her problems. Nothing he does is wrong, but everything he does is measured against an impossible standard. A standard built from fiction, amplified by social media, reinforced by echo chambers of women telling each other they deserve movie-quality love. And he's losing a competition he doesn't even know he's in. So she makes the decision. She leaves. And for a while, it feels right. The freedom is intoxicating at first. No one asking about dinner, no routine, no predictability. She can do what she wants, when she wants. She's rediscovering herself. She's living her truth. She posts about her journey. The comments are supportive. "So proud of you. You're glowing. He never deserved you anyway." She starts dating, and initially it's exciting. New men, new attention, new possibilities. The dates feel different because they are different. They're new. The conversations are interesting because they haven't been had before. The attention feels validating because it's coming from someone who hasn't seen her at her worst, someone who doesn't know all her stories, someone for whom she's still a mystery. But then, reality starts to intrude. The exciting new guy.
He's exciting because he's unavailable. He's texting 3 other women. He's not looking for commitment. The dates are fun, but they don't go deeper. The attention is abundant, but it's shallow. She's drowning in options, but starving for substance. She tries to find someone like her ex-husband, someone reliable, someone kind, someone who shows up. But the reliable ones, the ones who actually want commitment, they're not as exciting as the unstable ones. They're boring. Like her ex was boring, and she just left boring. So she keeps cycling through men who give her intensity, but not stability. Validation, but not commitment. Excitement, but not security. And somewhere in this cycle, she starts to remember her ex differently. The things that annoyed her, his predictability, his routine-focused life, his calm demeanor, she starts to see them through a different lens. He was predictable because he was reliable. He had routines because he was stable. He was calm because he was secure. All the things she left him for not being exciting, spontaneous, passionate, she's now finding in men who can't give her the things he gave her effortlessly. Then she sees the photo of him with someone new, and that someone is smiling at him the way she used to smile before she started scorekeeping. And he's smiling back. He looks happy, not devastated, not broken, not pining for her, happy. This is the moment the regret floods in because she thought he needed her. She thought his life was her. She thought leaving him would prove she was the prize he lost. But he's fine. He found someone who appreciates what he offers, someone who doesn't measure him against impossible standards, someone who values consistency over chaos. And that someone gets the version of him she used to get before she started taking it for granted. Let me talk about what happens in her mind now. She starts reviewing the marriage with new data. All the things he did that she stopped noticing, she notices them now because she's comparing him to the men she's met since. And none of them do what he did. None of them show up the way he showed up. None of them love the way he loved. Quietly, steadily, without keeping score, without needing validation, without making it a performance. She remembers the coffee he made every morning, the way he always checked if she needed anything before he ran errands, the way he handled problems without needing credit, the way he loved her kids, biological or not, like they were his, the way he never made her feel bad about her flaws, the way he was just there, always there, until he wasn't, because she left. And now she's drowning in options, but none of them are good. She's getting attention, but it's empty. She's dating, but it's exhausting. She wanted intensity, she got instability. She wanted passion, she got chaos. She wanted someone better, she got worse. Over and over, worse. The regret isn't just about missing him, it's about realizing she destroyed something irreplaceable for reasons that now seem stupid. She left a man who loved her because he didn't love her the way movies said he should. She traded substance for sparkle, security for excitement, reality for fantasy, and fantasy didn't deliver. Let me talk about the effort paradox because this is what men need to understand. In that marriage, he probably overfunctioned. He probably gave more than she gave. He probably prioritized her comfort, her happiness, her needs. He probably bent over backward trying to be a good husband. And all of that effort, all of that devotion, it didn't save the marriage. If anything, it made her respect him less because overgiving communicates something. It communicates that you need this more than she does, that you're willing to do more work to keep it going, that your investment exceeds hers. And when investment is imbalanced, the overinvestor loses power. She starts to see his effort not as love, but as need. And need isn't attractive. Abundance is attractive. Options are attractive. Someone who gives freely because they choose to, not because they have to, that's attractive. He probably tried to fix every problem. She was upset, he sprang into action. She was stressed, he took on more. She was unhappy, he asked what he could do. Every response was effort. Every issue was his to solve. And after years of this, she didn't see a partner, she saw a servant. Not because he was weak, but because he positioned himself as responsible for her emotional state. And when someone else is managing your emotions, you lose respect for them.
The cruel irony is that the effort that was supposed to keep her probably pushed her away, because effort without boundaries looks like desperation.
Devotion without standards looks like low value. Love without the willingness to walk away looks like dependence. And she responded to all of this exactly how psychology predicts. She left the person who needed her most. Now she's discovering that the men who don't overfunction, the ones who aren't racing to fix her every mood, who aren't bending over backward to please her, those men are harder to find and harder to keep because they have options, they have standards, they have the exact thing her ex-husband didn't have enough of, the willingness to let her go if she doesn't add to their life. Let me address the grass is greener illusion, because this is the psychological trap. Abundance of choice creates the illusion that better is always available. When she had one man, her husband, she knew his flaws intimately. She lived with them daily. Every imperfection was magnified by proximity. But the theoretical man out there, the ones she could access if she left, they existed in her imagination as perfect, or at least better. Better looking, more successful, more exciting, more emotionally available, more everything. This is called the fantasy alternative. It's not a real person, it's a composite. The attractiveness of one man, the career success of another, the emotional depth of a third, the spontaneity of a fourth. She's comparing her real husband to a fantasy man who doesn't exist. And real always loses to fantasy, because real includes flaws and fantasy doesn't. So she leaves to pursue the fantasy, and she discovers, slowly, painfully, that the fantasy doesn't exist, that real men, no matter how initially impressive, all have flaws, that the exciting guy is exciting because he's unstable, that the successful guy is successful because he prioritizes work over relationships, that the emotionally available guy is available because he's needy, that the spontaneous guy is spontaneous because he's impulsive and unreliable. Every man she meets is trading one set of strengths for another set of weaknesses, just like her husband did. But her husband's strengths were exactly the ones that build stable, long-term partnerships. Reliability, consistency, commitment, presence. The boring stuff, the stuff that doesn't generate Instagram likes, but does generate 30-year marriages. And by the time she realizes this, by the time the fantasy shatters against reality, he's already moved on. The window closed, the option expired. She thought she had unlimited time to explore and then return if nothing better appeared. She didn't. She had exactly as much time as it took him to realize he deserved someone who appreciated him. And that time is shorter than most women expect. Let me talk about what this means for men watching this pattern. First, understand that effort alone doesn't save you. You can be the perfect husband by every reasonable metric and still get left. Not because you failed, but because she's measuring you against an impossible standard, informed by fiction and amplified by social media. You can't outperform fantasy. Don't try. Second, maintain boundaries even in marriage, especially in marriage. Overfunctioning creates contempt, not gratitude. Give freely, but not without limits. Love deeply, but not without self-respect. The marriage where you're breaking yourself trying to make her happy, that's the marriage most likely to end. Third, build a life that doesn't center entirely on her. Have purpose beyond the marriage. Have friendships, have hobbies, have goals. If she's your entire world, she'll feel the weight of that. And weight doesn't create attraction, it creates pressure. And pressure creates the desire to escape. Fourth, recognize when you're being taken for granted and address it, not through more effort, through less, through creating space, through demonstrating that your presence isn't guaranteed, that you're choosing her daily and she should be choosing you. If you're always available, always accommodating, always bending, you're teaching her that you have no options, and people don't value what they think they can't lose. Fifth, if she leaves, let her go completely. Don't chase, don't try to win her back, don't demonstrate that her leaving devastated you. Build your life. Become the version of yourself that you would have been if you'd never met her. Let her see from a distance that you're fine, better than fine, that what she thought was her power over you didn't actually exist. This is the only thing that sometimes triggers regret.
not your pain, you're thriving. Now, let me address women, because if any women are still watching, this is important. Familiarity doesn't equal failure. The fact that your husband is predictable doesn't mean he's boring.
It means he's consistent. The fact that he doesn't surprise you constantly doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It means he's secure enough in the relationship to be himself. The fact that he doesn't fight with you doesn't mean he's not passionate. It means he's mature enough to handle conflict without drama. Stop comparing your relationship to fantasies. Movies aren't real. Instagram isn't real. The rom-com gestures aren't sustainable in actual life. The man who brings you flowers every day will eventually annoy you when he forgets one day. The man who writes you poetry will eventually seem pretentious. The man who plans elaborate surprises will eventually exhaust his budget or his creativity. Evaluate your partner based on reality, not fantasy. Appreciate consistency while you have it, because you won't recognize its value until it's gone. The man who shows up isn't boring, he's rare. The man who listens isn't unexciting, he's attentive. The man who stays calm isn't unemotional, he's stable. These are features, not bugs. These are the things that build lives, raise children, create security. They just don't look impressive on social media. Understand that intensity and stability rarely coexist. You can have a relationship that's dramatic and exciting, or you can have one that's calm and secure. Very rarely can you have both. The men who create constant intensity are usually creating it through instability, through jealousy, through chaos, through making you uncertain. That's not passion, that's dysfunction. Don't confuse the two. If you're feeling disconnected, communicate. Don't collect evidence. Don't build a case. Don't start interviewing lawyers while he thinks everything's fine. Tell him what you need, clearly, specifically. Give him a chance to meet you there. Most men want to make their wives happy. They just don't know what that requires, because the requirements keep changing and they're not telepathic. And finally, know that leaving has permanent consequences. You might find someone better, though statistically most women don't. But even if you do, you've destroyed a family. You've broken a vow. You've taught your children that commitment is conditional. You've created damage that cascades into generations. Make sure, absolutely sure, that the reasons are worth the cost. Because I was bored won't feel like enough 20 years from now when you're alone. Let me close with a core truth both sides need to hear. Marriage is not about finding the perfect person. It's about choosing an imperfect person and building something anyway. It's work, daily work, unglamorous work. The work of noticing your partner when familiarity makes them invisible. The work of appreciating small gestures when they don't feel new anymore. The work of choosing commitment when excitement fades. The work of protecting what you built when the grass looks greener elsewhere. The people who succeed at this aren't more in love, they're more committed. They made a decision and they honor it. They maintain the decision through the boring parts, through the disappointing parts, through the parts where they're not sure they married the right person. They honor it because they promised. And promises, when they're real, aren't feelings dependent. The regret I'm describing, the regret women are starting to feel, it's not unique to women. Men feel it too when they leave good women for stupid reasons. This is a human problem, but it's accelerating in one direction more than the other right now. And the acceleration is creating a generation of broken families, damaged children, and adults who destroyed something real while chasing something imaginary. If you're married to someone decent, not perfect, but decent, think very carefully before you walk away. Think about what you're trading. Think about what you're destroying. Think about whether the reasons are real or whether they're manufactured by comparison, fantasy, and the voices of strangers who don't live with the consequences of your decisions. And if you're the man who got left, the man who did his best and it still wasn't enough, understand that it wasn't about you. It was about her inability to value what she had until she lost it. You can't fix that. You can only build yourself into someone who won't make the same mistake. Someone who chooses a partner who already knows your value. Someone who appreciates consistency. Someone who's done with fantasies and ready for reality. For now, tell me in the comments, have you seen this pattern? Have you experienced this regret? Or watched someone experience it? What happened? Share the story. That's it for today. Value what you have while you have it. Choose wisely. Build carefully. And remember, the grass isn't greener, it's just different grass. And different grass still needs to be mowed.